It's Thursday, August 13th, 2020. So a lot happening today. I printed out some articles, wanted to share them with you, get your thoughts on it. There was some good news today. If you call this good news, U.S. weekly jobless claims fell to 963,000, first time below 1 million since mid-March. And I was watching some of the financial shows this morning. Everybody was clapping, ecstatic that for once in 21 weeks, we lost less than 1 million jobs. So that's the good news today. It's frightening, yet Dow Jones only down 80 points on the news that we lost nearly another million jobs 21 weeks in a row now with these horrendous job losses. But you would think it was the best news in weeks when you watch these shows. I'm sure most of you have seen this or heard about this. Uber and Lyft on track to leave California after failing to delay driver status order. Earlier this week, California Superior Court Judge Ethan Schulman ordered them to classify their drivers as employers. And this is really concerning for the state of California because there are so many people who work for Uber and Lyft, so many people who went out and bought cars or leased cars because of Uber and Lyft, and so many people who use these companies as their side hustles in order to keep their heads above water. When you look at the amount of drivers, Uber has 100,000 drivers in California. Lyft has 76,000 drivers in California. So nearly 200,000 people work for these two companies, and they could be exiting California in the not too distant future. What are these people going to do who bought these cars, who are under lease contracts for these cars, paying these auto payments by their Lyft and Uber jobs? And how are they going to support themselves now? Some of these people, this is all they do. And for many of these people, it's one of their side hustles. This is going to put people in a very, very difficult position here. And so Dow Jones only down 80 points today, and you look at what's happening to Lyft, you look at what's happening to Uber. How about this on CNBC? Empty apartments in Manhattan reach record high, topping 13,000. 13,000 empty apartments in Manhattan, but there'll be people out there that will tell me, oh, that's not happening in their area. If it can happen in Manhattan, it can happen anywhere. And, if you're living in Timbuktu, maybe it's not that big of a deal. But when you start looking at what's happening in New York and what's happening in Chicago and things that are happening in Los Angeles, in most urban cities now, big cities in America, we are seeing some real serious problems when it comes to apartments, when it's coming to commercial real estate. And this is going to affect the entire country. Again, if it can happen to Manhattan, it can happen anywhere. CNBC, bankrupted Steinmart is closing all of its stores. This is going to create thousands of more people without a job. Thousands of unemployed people will be the result of this Steinmart closure. The retailer's closing all 279 of its stores. We have one here in Palm Springs. We also have another one in Palm Desert. Both of these stores are anchor stores. So it's not just going to be the closure of Steinmart, but being anchor stores, it's going to affect those shopping areas, because they draw traffic that when those people come to Steinmart, they may go to lunch, they may go to one of the other stores in that shopping plaza. When you lose an anchor store, it affects everybody. And it's going to affect the valley here where I live, because there's two of them right here in the valley, 15 minutes apart. And so it's going to have an effect here for sure. And of course, these people are no longer going to have a job here shortly. And I was looking at the map. A lot of their stores are located in California, Texas, and Florida, and everywhere in between. So really sad to see another one biting the dust, and even more sad that thousands of people are going to be unemployed. U.S. consumer prices surge as food and medical costs jump. People are telling you and I there's no inflation. Food prices are surging. Medical costs, medical health care is surging. And at the worst possible time, as people continue to lose jobs. Wow, we lost less than 1 million jobs last week. That's fantastic news. Think about that. That's actually good news. I cannot believe, as I'm watching these television shows this morning, how ecstatic that they were that we only lost under 1 million jobs, and this was a step in the right direction. This is the recovery. I mean, it's unbelievable. Food bank strains emerge as economy falls off fiscal cliff. This is going to be something that we're going to see more and more of. You're going to see it in your areas. I've already seen it in mine. The 2-mile food lines, the food banks running out of food. 30% of this country not getting, or 30 million people in this country not eating enough food. And again, this is a complete recipe for disaster when you look at the amount of unemployment, when you look at the food shortage, when you look at wealth inequality, opportunity inequality. This is heading to a really bad place. CNN, Las Vegas entertainers fear dire straits as weeks of unemployment turn to months. Visitor volume in June was down 70% from June of 2019. Think about how drastic that number is. And my heart goes out to the people in Nevada, Las Vegas. They are just taking a beating. Many Las Vegans are concerned with keeping a roof over their head. In the CNN article, just talked about how many people have run through their savings. People just doing whatever they can do right now to get by. Some people, their unemployment has run out, and so they don't know when they'll get another check. 47% of renter households in Nevada are right now currently at risk of eviction. Just think about what must be going through these people's minds. And I'm sure there's people watching this video right now in the same situation. And my heart goes out to people right now who are just victims of this economy. And we have no idea how much longer this is going to go on. And the longer it does go on, the more severe that the repercussions are going to be down the road here. It's going to take a long time for America to get over this. It's going to take a long time, very long time, for this economy to recover. Every day that we are shut down, it is doing so much damage. And even though Vegas or parts of Vegas are open, when you look at the numbers, I mean, Vegas is still basically shut down. And the problem here is, again, fear. People afraid to get on airplanes, people afraid to go to resorts, and then you have people who don't have a job, who don't know if they're going to have a job to return to, people who already have lost jobs, their businesses have permanently closed, and so they are right now day to day waiting for the next unemployment check. Waiting for that bonus, not knowing when that bonus is going to show up. We don't know when the next stimulus check is going to show up. There's just a lot of unknowns here, and that's one of the scariest things, is the unknown. If you think things are getting better, if you think there's a V-shaped recovery, if you think things are improving or going to improve, I think you really need some help here. Just listen to this number I'm going to read to you. $5,630,859,000,000. Federal spending has already set annual record deficit at record $2,807,295,000,000. The federal government has spent this in just the first 10 months of the fiscal year. This is more than the government spent in any previous full fiscal year. So this means we have almost $3 trillion more going out than coming in. A deficit record in 10 months of $2,807,295,000,000. You don't have to be a mathematician to understand that this is big trouble. The debt and the deficits are absolutely so unsustainable at this point. I mean, we are talking about trillions like it's millions. It's nothing now. There is no doubt so many people in America that need help, who are literally just being wiped out every day here. I was reading an article this afternoon on CNBC, and it's titled, "Waiting on that extra $400 unemployment benefit." Here's what we know so far. The duration of the aid is unknown. Who will get these $400 bonuses is unknown. What we do know is many may not get it. Another unknown is, when will people get it? A lot of people certainly need help, but I have to ask the same question: who is going to pay for all of this? The stimulus, the unemployment benefits, the $400 bonuses. I was reading an article earlier also, where we're seeing a lot of renters ghosting landlords, basically meaning that they're not calling their landlords back, they're not communicating with landlords, they basically ghosted, disappeared, stopped all communication, all payments stopped with their landlord. And many of these people were getting $600 bonuses, unemployment benefits, a stimulus check, and decided instead of paying rent, they'll go out and buy a car, or they'll go buy something else. And so, we're going to have an issue now with landlords and renters, and we've seen violence already erupting throughout the country. I read another article the other day where a landlord went over to one of his rental properties, took the doors off the house while it was occupied, took the windows out. So things are going to get really messy here between renters and landlords, especially when the landlord knows that his renters were getting benefits, they were getting bonuses, they were getting stimulus, and he sees a brand new car in the driveway. So that's totally taking advantage of the system. And while so many millions of people are in huge trouble and are going to be 100% dependent and reliant on the system now, there is a good number of people who are going to take advantage of what is taking place, and that's really sad. Bloomberg: from Bourbon Street to country clubs, foot traffic remains low as recovery stalls. This was very interesting, and in this article, there was a company, Orbital Insight, a California analytics company, determined that there was no V-shaped recovery taking place. They looked at a couple variables here. One of them, they looked at nightlife hotspots, and they based all this on foot traffic. And when they looked at the foot traffic in Vegas, they said that the number of foot traffic down in Vegas, it was down. Foot traffic down 60% in Vegas. Nashville's Lower Broadway, foot traffic down 70%. Bourbon Street, foot traffic down 90%. They looked at some malls, mega malls, such as King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania, down, foot traffic down 50%. Mall of America in Minnesota, down 60%. South Coast Plaza, one of the most affluent malls in the country in Costa Mesa, California, foot traffic down 70%. I cannot even believe these numbers. Then they looked at ritzy shopping streets. Michigan Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, foot traffic down 75%. And look at what is taking place, the violence that is taking place right there, right now. Newberry Street in Boston, down 65%. And foot traffic on Rodeo Drive, right here in Los Angeles, California, down 60%. I mean, these numbers are staggering. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you, but people obviously are not traveling. I just looked at some of the room rates in Las Vegas. They are way down. They're literally probably down minimal 50 to 70%, depending what resorts you're looking at, what casinos you're looking at, and what days you're planning to stay there. But just out of curiosity, I was just looking at some of the rates, and they're down 50 to 70%, and the place is a ghost town. So that's an eye-opener right there. It's an indicator of what is taking place right now. So we lost nearly 1 million jobs last week, and got those numbers today. Dow Jones down only 80 points. As I make this video, gold is around $1,968 an ounce, and silver is trying to make a run back to $28. It's about $27.78. This is on CNBC.com. So they took a beating, but wow, we are getting very close to just coming back. Gold trying to get back to 2,000 and silver trying to get back to 28. It's amazing. They keep trying to knock and suppress these the two most undervalued assets on planet Earth. They keep trying to knock them down, but they just seem to keep coming back like a zombie. And I'm a full believer that you need, and I'm not giving financial advice, but anybody who sees what's going on here, you need to be protecting yourself with hard tangible assets like gold and silver. But again, what's happening in this economy across the United States of America is staggering. It's very concerning. And I hope every one of you is continuing your preparations because we may be only in the second inning of this depression. We've got a long way to go. Things are going to get much messier than they are now, much more volatile and much more dangerous than they are now. So don't get complacent. This stock market is going to all-time highs. The Dow is no doubt going to all-time highs. Look at the amount of money they're going to inject. They're saying $2 trillion. I would probably say by the end of this year, they will have injected another $4 trillion by the end of this year. Not 2, it'll be 4. The Fed's balance sheet is going to continue to explode. Central banks' balance sheets exploding right now. Keep your eyes on gold and silver. Look, there's going to be volatility, no doubt about it. But these assets are going to get harder and harder to acquire. Get them now. Brass, that's an asset that is up probably 300%, and it is getting more and more expensive, harder to acquire. And if you don't have security, you're going to be in very big trouble. But I'm going to leave it there today. It's a blistering hot 115 degrees here in Palm Desert, California. I think it's going to be around 120 this weekend. So I'm going to just lay low. Hope to talk to all of you very soon. I'm going to continue with adding to some of my preparations this coming weekend. I hope that you're going to do the same. So everybody out there, please stay very safe. Continue to walk close to God. If you're not, you need to be, and you need to be praying for America. This country needs help. So I'm going to leave it there. God bless every one of you. Talk to you very soon.